KU football fans, welcome to a post-game edition of KU Sports Extra. I'm Benton Smith here with Shane Jackson. We just watched the 12th and final game of the first year of the Les Miles era here at KU, and it was the worst game of the season. 61-6 is the final. Not at all what I was expecting. I think everyone kind of expected Baylor to win and maybe win handily, but I mean, it was just an absolute beating today.
Yeah, obviously the goal is to be playing your best towards the end of the year, and it was anything but that for Kansas. And, you know, again, Baylor is the competition, what you're measuring yourself up against, because they are going to play in a Big 12 championship game next week, but it wasn't even close. And I think that's the concerning part for Kansas. Now they have 280 days to think on this type of loss and let it sit over the offseason. Because there were moments this year where they were competitive, and regardless of the opponent, and they weren't ever in this. Baylor scores 21 points in the first quarter alone, 48 unanswered, and it was just a long day, both ends of the field, every aspect you can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, they came out flat, and the players totally downplayed that when I asked them about it after the game. And Coach Miles did a little bit, although he said, like, he noticed maybe one or two guys at least that were notably unfocused, but he said that shouldn't kind of derail your whole team. It was just a miserable day for everybody, though. I mean, like, sure, they started off okay, I guess, on that first drive before they had to go for it on fourth down because they were going into the wind. But after that, it was just a disaster. And Carter Stanley ended up throwing 3 interceptions and basically took himself out of the game late in the third quarter after that third one. Said, hey, let's let Manny Miles have a shot. I mean, that's not what I was expecting out of a senior day for a lot of guys who have invested a lot of time and hard work into this program. So it just kind of maybe it is a fitting way for it to end because this whole season's been so weird.
Yeah.
You know, like they look great, they look awful, they look okay. You know, it's all over the place.
Almost unexpected in every aspect. I mean, when they played well, it was surprised, and when they played poorly, it was a surprise. So, yeah, in a way, it is fitting. Because, again, I mean, the spread here was 14 points.
Right.
Nobody thought KU was going to win this game, but, you know, Baylor didn't have a lot to play for. All they had to do was win. KU had everything to play for because it's their final game. It's their only game left on the schedule. And so it was just a strange way to end that season.
Yeah. Obviously, there will be a lot to kind of digest from this game and from the season as a whole in the days and weeks to come, and we'll obviously continue doing that. Right now, it's basically recruiting season for the KU coaches. Les Miles said that they'll basically all get on planes or in cars or depending on where they're going Sunday night and head out and try to wrap up this 2020 class. And I mean, I'm sure they'll probably even hit some younger guys too, but it's already that time of year. We'll see how the 2020 class plays out. KU could help itself out greatly by getting a lot of these guys signed in December. I mean, that's just 3 weeks away at this point. So still a big time of year. KU season, I don't think, went the way that anybody in the program thought it might or hoped it might. But they all seem pretty optimistic heading into the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I wrote about in the column. I mean, this year was a step in the right direction, but today was a harsh reminder of what this team still has a long way to go. And again, you're measuring yourself up against a team like Baylor, who just 2 years ago had one win in their first season with their new head coach. So there's room for growth here. There's a path to a turnaround. Maybe not 11-1 is a realistic turnaround for Kansas, but they still have a long way to go, and that's why you're talking about this offseason's huge. And if you can. Les always talks about meaningful games in November. They were 0-4. They got outscored by over 100 points in November alone. And so that right there, that has to correct itself. And maybe you're not 4-0 next year, but as long as you're taking more steps in the right direction, I think that's the key for Kansas heading into this offseason.
Yeah. For Shane Jackson, I'm Benton Smith. We'll be talking a lot more about this season in the days to come. I'm sure we'll hit it up on the podcast and, this week and beyond. I guess it's officially basketball season, so good news for KU fans, who I'm sure are already stoked after that Maui Invitational. But thanks for watching this episode of KU Sports Extra. We'll talk to you again real soon.